This episode is sponsored by our friend Snugplug. You know I don't do many sponsorships, so when I do, you know that I believe in the product. We all face outlets sometimes that have loose connection. They just fall out. When you're doing your vacuuming or you're trying to charge your phone, it just falls right out of the wall. Well, now with Snugplug, you don't need to worry about that anymore. You just insert that and it'll be nice and snug. A wonderful invention that I think you should get as well. And you can support us here at the podcast by going to the affiliate link and getting yourself a Snugplug. A big thank you to our sponsor, iFixit, who fights for your right to repair and makes really cool tools in the process. If you need to fix your phone, laptop, or even a vacuum, iFixit has thousands of parts, tools, and free guides.
Mercury, Mercury Stardust. She's a beacon of hope in the darkest night. Mercury, Mercury Stardust. She'll teach you how to make it all alright.
Hey there, hi, my name is Mercury, and I'm the trans Handy Ma'am. My pronouns are she, her, and I teach compassionate DIY. We're here to help renters, LGBTQIA members, and anyone who's feeling left out in a DIY space. Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals! Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Handy Ma'am Hotline. As always, I am joined by the outstanding, the world-renowned, the ultimate goddess of the universe, Maggie Conrad! Maggie!
I feel like this has turned from like actually introducing me into just being the most outrageous introduction that you can possibly think
Yeah,
of.
it kind of has. But also, I want you to know that typically Matt and I can coordinate. I never asked Matt what he was going to do for the intro, so I went in thinking this was going to be like some magnificent, like
Like
trumpet.
the fireworks, like last
Yeah,
time.
well, I thought it was going to be like, rockets or fireworks, or maybe trumpet fair.
Pew, 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 pew.
So here I am, just like queuing you up, Maggie, just like making sure everyone knew how amazing you were.
and Matt says, "Here's a cock."
Yeah. This is the second episode in a row, Maggie, where we're leading with the cock, Maggie.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Jesus, we're trying to be PG
There
now.
is an explicit marker on the episode.
Well, it better be.
Listen at your own.
Okay. Everybody, if you're tuning in for the very first time,
Welcome.
I am
Thanks
sorry.
for being here.
My name is Mercury Stardust. I'm the trans handyman. Okay, we are going to answer about 5 questions today. None of these questions I'm going to listen to right now have I listened to before. I never know what we're going into when I'm answering these questions. So sometimes there are questions that are in my wheelhouse as a person who's been doing this for like 16 some odd years, or sometimes I have no idea what I'm talking about and we have to look things up and we gotta, do our best. But we're always honest with the information we know, and we always do the best we can. That all being said, before we begin, Maggie, did you have a good week?
I did. Did you?
Yeah, good job. Yeah, I feel pretty good. By the time you're listening to this podcast, I'm not positive, but we probably are closer to our $1 million goal for trans healthcare by trans people for trans people. The Point of Pride $1 million trans health fundraiser we are doing on the good old-fashioned Tiki Talk. We're doing a live stream on March 30th at 4 p.m. Central Time that will last 30 hours until March 31st at 10 p.m. Central Time. And me and Jory Alluring Skull on TikTok are going to join forces here in tropical Madison, Wisconsin. And we're going to hang out for 30 straight hours without sleeping and trying to raise
Hopefully there will be a nap.
There is not going to be.
Please take a nap.
I can't believe. I don't know. This is what's so wild about me. I designed this live stream last year, right? And the whole point of it was I was kind of torturing myself on purpose in order to raise money. And everybody tells me, "Oh, take a nap." Then why the fuck are we doing a 30-hour live stream? You know what I mean? Like we could do. Well, how about we do 7 10-hour live streams in 7 days? How about that? That's so much easier. Let's do that, okay? But everyone's like, "Oh, take a nap." The whole point is to do the straightforward 30-hour live stream. Everyone's like, "Oh, you should take a nap." Well, it defeats the point,
Well, to be fair, at one point you said you wanted to take a nap.
Yeah,
so.
I know, but it has changed, Maggie. It has changed.
That's good to know. I'm glad I know that
Yeah,
now.
no, you know. I might actually end up taking like I think last year I took a 20-minute nap or something, right?
Well, because I remember somebody else was on the live and I realized you were still asleep and I was at home. So I like ran across town real quick to wake you up for like the next thing that was supposed to happen.
I might end up taking an hour or 2 hour nap, depending on what Jory wants to do.
Yeah.
We might give each other a little bit of time because it is hard. It's hard. I think what Jory has said over and over again to us that she does not sleep on a regular basis.
And she does really well when she doesn't sleep.
But what I think that is missed by this is the way that our live stream runs.
Yeah.
And the way that we raise money on our live streams is that like we are basically carnival barkers for 30 straight hours. The way that you do this on TikTok is you repeat the same things.
You're auctioneers.
Yeah, you're auctioneers because the average person who's a follower of mine will watch for about 1 minute and 40 some seconds or 1 minute and 20 seconds, right? That means I have 1 minute and 20 seconds to explain why we're doing this live stream, who it's going to help, how it's going to help, why you should support it, and then to get you to actually support it.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of time. So that means I got to like rapid fired, and be like, hey, support trans healthcare by trans people for trans people through a point of pride, blah, 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 blah. And it just repeats, and it's just circle over and over again.
Yeah.
And it can get really tiring. And then you'll get moments where you have nothing left. And then you just need to just coast and just have conversations with people because you're not doing really well. And then you'll have moments where, last year we raised like 30,000 in 1 hour?
Yeah.
I did the math, though. If we get $200,000 prior to the fundraiser on March 30th, right? We will need to go 30 straight hours by raising $26,000 every hour.
Per hour. Yep.
Isn't that wild? Well, we're going to see. Maybe they're listening to this podcast right now in the future, which, of course, they are.
Already donating $30 each.
Yeah, and then, but maybe we already hit the goal. We don't know.
Oh.
Maybe we hit 10 million and we don't even know.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, Maggie, are you ready for the very first question of the day?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Hi, Mercury. My name is Becca. My pronouns are she, her. I am a renter. I live in like a corporate apartment complex. My unit is on the second floor, which is the top floor. And there are raccoons that live in the ceiling above me. I know this because I can literally sit by one of my windows and watch them come and go at, the certain time of evening when they become active. I have reported this to the leasing office. A lot of times I have photographic evidence and I just can't get anyone to do anything about it. Is there anything I can do on my own to try to help a problem with animals living in the ceiling? Is there a way I can escalate this? I'd appreciate any insights about these tenants that live above me that I am not fond of. Thank you, and I love the podcast. Be well.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Lord.
Becca, that is... Wow. I was listening to it and was not expecting raccoons are living above me in my ceiling. I was not expecting that. That has to be one of the most wild calls we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, Maggie, do you know anything about corporate office, living arrangements and what that would entail in this aspect? Like what the lease would look like?
The only thing, as far as like corporate goes is that you have your property manager and then, obviously go to whoever is above that, right? You want to go to the corporate office.
Okay.
So if you like,
that's what I was thinking.
If it's like HR or gosh, I don't even know who particular, but like definitely go above whoever you've been talking to.
Yeah, because I think in this, you could also take this to court. I think that.
Oh yeah.
I think this is pretty well documented from what Becca said, and I also think that depending on how long this went on and how long it's been since the first email, they might be violating a code.
Yeah.
Because you only have. I don't know. Raccoons living above you in your ceiling kind of seems like a priority you might want to deal with.
Yeah.
Also, I don't even understand because I feel like you can call animal control. And you can, I mean.
Oh, yeah. They could come out and give them a ticket.
Right? Isn't that?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think they could. I'm not really sure how that works, but I also am confused why they wouldn't just do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But all that being said, now that we've talked about like the legal things and maybe going to HR and getting some type of like, tenant resources involved, I don't know how that works in a corporate sense.
Yeah.
But all that stuff is good. That's all good knowledge to have. I never know how practical that stuff is because, like, it might not go the way you need to, and you're still going to be stuck with raccoons in your ceiling. So let's, like, talk about, like, how to get the raccoons out of your ceiling and what steps you can actually do. I think the first thing I would say is that, like, the thing that we talked about, animal control.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. They might be interested in hearing about this. I feel like this is not that uncommon for them, but extremely uncommon for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get called for this as a technician. You know what I mean? Like, I would probably call somebody to remove, well, how much did, like, several of them? It was like a family of.
Definitely said, like, raccoons, and they come and go. So it's likely more than one.
Okay. So, I mean, so it depends on what you want to do here. And also, how big is this building? You know what I mean? Like, they said that they were on the top floor, right?
Right.
So this is like they're on the roof, basically.
They're on the second. It's only 2 stories.
Oh, okay.
They're on the second floor, which is the top.
So they're living in the. How are they getting in?
Yeah, there must be like a vent.
See, that's the thing.
Cover that has been removed.
That's not going to be good for so many reasons. If they can get in, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions. If they can get in.
Yeah.
So, like, even from a maintenance standpoint, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, don't go on the roof. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't. If you're a renter, this is one of those where I'm going to put a hard line in the sand, and I'm going to say you should not be fixing this problem.
Right.
Right. I want to say you should fix this problem. Right. If you're a homeowner, then I would say, if you have a camera of some kind. Put like a camera on top of your roof in a way that's going to angle it where they usually are, and make sure it has a good night light camera on it. And then, baby monitor would work decently well. And then just wait and then see how they're accessing the inside of your fucking roof. You know what I mean? And then go out there and, make sure they can
seal the hole.
Make sure they're not there during the day, though. You don't want to seal them in. That's like the worst thing you could do. Make sure they're out, right? And then the question would be to how to seal up, whatever they're getting into, how to prevent it from them getting into it. But you're probably going to need to clean it out.
And
stuff like that
I would talk to or look for somebody in the city. There's usually some kind of like inspector or housing coordinator or something like that you could escalate this to, because if it's like a health issue, because like they bring in disease and they're leaving behind feces and all of those things, you don't know what they're bringing into the home. That could be a code violation that then they would basically tell the property that you have to fix this within a certain amount of time or you'll be. I
got to be honest. I think that a property manager probably thinks that they're like exaggerating. I think that like after knowing a lot of property managers I've known over the years, I can literally hear one or two of them in my ear right now be like, oh, this person. You know what I mean? Like they're always complaining about raccoons in their ceiling. You know what I mean? Like that's ridiculous. Hey, I will tell you this right now. Nothing would surprise me in maintenance. Yeah. As far as like, if you tell me there's raccoons in your ceiling, I'm going to believe you. Because like I've seen some crazy things over the years. That does not surprise me, but property managers who make their work orders, I don't know. You know what I mean? They might not take it seriously. So yeah, I don't know. I say, especially if it's not all the time, if it's inconsistent, it would be hard for the technicians to, because how do you take care of that problem? You know what I mean? You need to catch them in the act, or catch them.
Animal control would have to remove them and bring them somewhere else, and then maintenance would have to seal off whatever entrance.
100%. Yeah, because even if you catch them, it doesn't mean you're not going to have other problems.
Yeah, but I think that I don't know a whole lot about animal control, but I do believe that there are certain like things that you have to do, especially as like a multiple unit building, that if they're not, if they come out and remove the raccoons, then they have to work with the property manager to make sure that the problem is solved, because if they have to come back out again, then they can get fined. Again, I'm just kind of going off of what I, the little bit that I know about animal control. So I would definitely call animal control, talk to anybody in the city that you can, and go above your property manager's head in any way that you can.
Yeah, go above their head like the raccoons are above yours. Yeah! Oh, shit, I did
Set up shop in their ceiling.
I spiked that one. Oh, Maggie, you said it.
That was great.
I was like, oh, Maggie did a great setup, and I got so excited. About that joke. All right, we answered that pretty good, right, Maggie?
I think so.
Oh, Mercury got 25 points right out of the gate. Woo!
And please update us. I would love to hear
honestly,
the saga of the raccoons.
I really want to know what that's like in 3 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because right now, I'm assuming they called recently, so I'm guessing that's in winter, and what that's going to be like come the spring. Oh my
especially
God.
with babies.
Yeah.
I mean, I love raccoons. They're so cute, but they should not be living in your dwelling.
No, I mean, it sounds cute and kind of, silly, but it's probably not.
No.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it would drive me nuts to hear them up in there, but also like you don't know when they're gonna hop out,
fall through the ceiling. Just raccoon plop.
Yeah, I would be worried that they're in the air vents and stuff too. I would be worried that they're doing just all kinds of dumb shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Raccoons will get into everything. They're just, and that's the thing. Like as a former technician, I'll tell you that one of my least favorite animals to deal with.
And they can get
raccoon.
Stuck in the walls. If they're up in the ceiling, they can get down into between the drywall. And get stuck.
No,
or
100%.
die in there, or leave a bunch of.
Well, okay, let's
crap
go.
in there.
Let's go to the immediately. Jesus, Maggie, we were just
My brain goes to some dark
Maggie,
places. I'm sorry.
We were just wrapping up this question. we just
beware of the raccoons dying in your walls.
We were just about to leave this question, and Maggie just drops a hardcore bomb. Oh, they're gonna die in your walls. Jesus, Matt, play the next fucking question.
Hi, my name is Jillian, she, her, from Columbus, Ohio, and I have a question, kind of a weird one. There may not be an answer to it, but that's totally fine if there's not. I just figured if there's one person I need to ask, it's my Handy Ma'am. So here is the pitch. Me and my girlfriend moved in together into a townhome last August, and we're going to renew our lease upcoming here because I just got into pharmacy school. Yay, very exciting. And the thing is that, so it's our townhome, and then, it's kind of like there's 4 of them in a row, like all in the same building, but there's 4 separate, like, apartments, townhomes, So the walls are pretty thin, and our one neighbor has 2 really cute dogs, but they do bark an awful lot. And our other neighbors that are attached, they have 2 kids, which are much louder than the dogs. So I didn't know if there was a way that you knew that we could kind of make, obviously we can't, like, add anything to the walls or anything like that, because we do rent and everything like that. But I didn't know if there's a way that you knew that we could make it more soundproof so we didn't, like, hear our neighbors walking up and down the stairs because they kind of just sound like werewolves the whole time. So I didn't know if you had any tips or tricks or anything like that. And thank you so much for all your help. I love listening to the podcast. And hi, Maggie and Matthew. Thank you guys, too. Yeah, have a great day.
Oh, my God. Maggie could see me, like, literally lose my life on this one. Because, I, first of all, I'll say I have so much empathy for this one, like, a lot. A few years ago, I lived in a condominium with a partner, but we were renting it. And when we moved in, we had a person who was living above us who had full carpeted floors. So we never noticed the problem, right? About 3 or 4 months in, they decided they were going to go to hardwood floors. And they went down to subfloor, and then they put on, I swear to God, the world's thinnest fucking, wood floor I've ever fucking heard of in my entire life. And they had a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old who played all the time, and with a dog. So it was a nightmare constantly, all the time, every night, and it would be like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, constantly right above our heads. This one can be maddening. Sound and not feeling like you can be in your space without being thrown off can be maddening. I have some bad news. There isn't a whole lot you're going to be able to do about it. We can mitigate it, right? We can mitigate it a little bit. But you said you don't want to put anything on the walls. And that kind of takes away anything we can really do because
Mm-hmm.
blankets and putting several loads of blankets, old clothes in the trouble spots, all of that doesn't make a difference. Even if it's like you have one of those clothes hangers that has like, those portable clothes hangers, you know what I'm talking about? You put that like right there in front of the walls, and that does make a difference. Anything that dampens the noise at all, that can absorb the noise. I mean, Matthew is our sound engineer. He can kind of tell you more than me, but essentially anything that you can put by the walls to dampen it would do really good. Matthew, what are your thoughts on it, buddy, if you're there?
Yeah, so for blocking sound, the only two things you have to worry about are volume and density, and that's volume of the material, not like volume of the sound. So like the more material you have and the denser it is, the more sound it's going to block. It's really as simple as that.
So question here. So if I had like 3 layers of blankets on a wall, would that dampen it like a good amount? Would that do anything?
It would depend on how thick the blankets are. Like if you have really loud traffic noise outside, it's probably not going to solve that.
Yeah. See, that's
the other thing about insulating for sound. You can kind of think of it as the same way as insulating for heat. So if you seek out like little cracks in the windows and try and fill like all the little cracks that you can, that'll help too.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So like if you had, like you can get those like heat gun phone sensors, like you can download the app that would show you some of the heat and stuff. It's not like perfect, they're not great, but some of them are free, and that's good. And that might show you where some of that is too.
And they have sound dampening curtains, like
Yeah, but like, I mean, you're gonna put holes in the walls with that though too. I mean, you can. There is something. There's some things you can do. Maybe that isn't super bad, and by doing this, it'll help enough. But if you have it on both walls, you got kids on one side and you got dogs on the other side, I think you're in a whirlwind of noise, and I think that will be hard to and especially if you're sandwiched between the two. That makes me think that it would be hard to solve completely. You know what I mean? I would say for your own sanity, if you have a room that's away from either of them, that's the room you dampen. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You make one room in the whole space that is dampened. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you put every blanket on the wall you got. You put every goddamn thing in there that's going to collect noise and sound. And you're going to put like a whole bunch of clothes in there. You're going to put a whole bunch of foam stuff in there, stuffed animals everywhere. And you're going to be in there, and that's going to be your sound space.
Yeah.
And that might be enough to give you a moment of like brevity.
Yeah, you go even in and like watch some TV.
Even
and relax.
if it's a closet. I know that sounds nuts, but I've been there. Even if it's a goddamn closet, that would feel a lot better to you than not. Maybe it's your bathroom. Maybe it's somewhere where you just feel a little bit more yourself. If that's possible, it might not be based on the design of your home, but if it is, that would be my guess. That would be the best thing I could tell you to do. Now, as far as like what else you do, there really isn't much you can do. It really isn't. I mean, I think that there are ordinances, there's laws, but let's be honest. Proving this and getting it to be done and getting landlords to do this stuff is hard. They just don't listen. They don't take it seriously. You know, a lot of laws will have that every renter deserves a quality of like peace sound-wise. I don't know how it's worded. Maggie might remember how it's worded more than me. But like in the book we have coming out in August, we have a specific section about sound. And we talk about it extensively, like technically in most states in America.
It's just a noise ordinance.
Yeah, there is like literally verbiage in the state bylaws about renting that states that you need to have a good quality of life, including like piece of sound, you know, between this hour and that hour. You know what I mean? Between 10 o'clock p.m. and 6 o'clock a.m., silence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, the reality of that just isn't really always there. And if the quality of materials that built the duplex aren't necessarily there, then other than putting density foam in the wall, there isn't a whole lot you can do.
Yeah.
You know, so I hope we helped a little bit, but, you know, sadly, there isn't a whole lot we can do in a scenario like that. But my heart goes up to you. Hopefully, it gets better over time. And maybe you can find a place that works better for you. And if not, maybe, you know, maybe the dogs get a little bit more settled in, and the kids grow up, and you don't have an issue. You know, just wait them out. Wait out. The dogs only live 12 years, and kids are going to be out of the high school by 18. Just wait. Just wait a few years. Sending you love.
Okay, so we have Pam. My name is Pam. Pronouns are she, her, and I wish I could call in, but with screaming kids and barking dogs, getting a few minutes quiet is almost impossible for me. This is a question of who should I even call for this sort of thing? I don't own property, so I can't call my landlord. She doesn't know how to fix anything, obviously, but I am at a loss to where to go from here. Plumber, drywall person, what can help? Cheesy Puff and Princess Cat Tax. Okay. I was like, where's the problem? But it's in pictures, so I'm going to pass it off to you.
Oh, okay.
Here, it looks like some tile and bathroom drywall issues.
Oh, right. So we're
and
having...
cute kitty photos.
Okay, hold on. I'm specifically going to look at the cat photos. Oh, my God. Okay, we have an orange cat and a whole bunch of sticky notes.
Yeah.
Rainbow sticky notes, by the way. And that cat is blurry, so you get a D- for me in that one. You got to take
clear, crisp cat photos,
yeah,
please.
if you're going to send us cat photos, don't like give us like these like blurry pictures. I want like a glam shot photo of a cat. You know what I mean? I want them like, I want glitter, I want feathers, I want like full out, you know, I want them in their zone, you know. But this white cat, there's this white cat with beautiful yellow eyes. I don't know what their name is, but I'm gonna say, wait, their names are right there. So this one is definitely Princess. Their name is Princess.
Yeah.
And then Orange Cat is more likely named Cheesy Puff. And you know what? Honestly, the cat is. This looks like Cheesy Puff. Like
Princess and Cheesy Puff. They do look like a princess.
I have to say, if I have, you're 100%. That white cat looks.
It is a princess.
The white cat looks like she gets whatever the fuck she wants. And the orange cat is just like, please, can I have more soup, please?
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Okay, now, the reason why you called in is not for the fucking cats. It's about this bathroom. Oh, boy. Okay, so let me describe what I'm seeing. It's not just a ginormous hole in the wall where the tile is by your bathtub. It's tile, but also it's the boarding. I think that might be drywall. It all depends. I don't know if that actually is drywall. That is drywall. Yep, the drywall behind the tile is ripped out, and then the tile is ripped out. It looks like they cut it. Oh, they cut it in the mortar line. Okay, so they cut it in the mortar line. I don't know who did that, but that's going to make it harder to make this patch good for the tile. And then there is molding, and there is damage above the tile, peeling. There was probably not enough caulking above it. And then there's mildew on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And on the wall. And then there is, I think that there was severe damage where the rods go for your curtain rods.
Yeah.
There's severe damage that's just like, I don't know if it just rotted out, but it looks like there's a chunk missing. And then it is, the rod is just put into it. So I have a question right away. When you moved in, was this like it? Was this what it was like when you moved in? Because if that was the case, it should never have been left like this.
Yeah.
You know? The second thing is that cut in the wall that's exposed that has like crumbling drywall. And I mean, there's tile that's next to it that's cracked. I didn't even notice that first, but there's a cracked tile.
Yeah.
This is a complete renovation. This is bad.
Do you think that they used all drywall and no cement board?
Yes.
That's what it looks like, right?
That's what it looks like. That's why I was saying. So for those who don't know, you do not put drywall behind a bathtub. Now, we did down in Topeka because everything else was, and what we took out was, and we didn't really have much of a choice. We couldn't use cement board in this instance, so we used what we could, right? But typically, 9 times out of 10, you never, ever put drywall right by a tub in the bathroom, right? Now, for those who don't know, drywall will soak up the moisture in the room like no one's goddamn business, right? Cement board will push it away. Like cement board is what you typically would find like, in the kitchen, like in the floor often of the times. You'll find that in the bathroom.
Behind your shower.
Yeah, behind your shower. But this is straight up drywall.
Yeah.
This is straight up drywall and then tile put on the drywall. Might be the reason why the mildew was so bad. I think that, okay, first and foremost, if you were to go to get a contractor yourself, it would be a general contractor. I think you would want someone with, it's not necessarily, it doesn't look to be a plumber thing. This is a general contractor thing. You could get a quote and then send this over to your landlord and then take pictures and then talk to your tenant resources. Today feels like a very heavy day with renters' rights.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think this is a really another good time for us to say this. But like, I think there's a real problem in this country with landlords not upholding their end of the bargain. And I understand that you might be strapped for money. You might be in this situation where you can't help them. But that, I'm telling you right now, that is unlivable. That is a disgraceful space to not be helping in. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have like real serious issues in that room. If all of that stuff happened after you moved in, hey, things happen. It's okay. Chances are you weren't the one who put a hole in a tile. Somebody was. A professional attempted that. But they cut it into the mortar line of the tile, which will make it harder to match the tile. So you almost have to redo it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of problems with all this. That's a major renovation in that bathroom. So a general contractor and then having them give a quote, get 1 or 2, maybe 3. And then you send in the quote to your landlord and tell them, hey, this is what we're looking at. Like, this is not good. If you want me to sign the lease or re-sign the lease, this is what we have to do, you know? And a lot of this work, if you have not done this work before, this is not where you start.
Yeah.
You don't start with this, Now, with the molding that you have, I think you can do some stop gaps, like to give you some, reprieve of this a little bit. And that's when we add in, the mold killer sprays we've talked about. Mold killer is a specific product that we talked about before. But even the mold and mildew blockers, I like a lot. Those are good too. But make sure that you're not using bleach. We don't want bleach in these products, okay? So whatever you're using, try to get a bleach-free formula. Bleach doesn't kill the mold. It just gives an impression of killing the mold. So you want to get products that actually kill it and make sure it's good. But don't stop once you don't see it anymore. You keep doing it for a few weeks. So the rule of thumb with mold and mildew is spray it, let it foam and sit for 15 minutes, then wipe it down with some vinegar and dish soap and some water mixture. Add it to it, wipe it down nice and dry, and then repeat that process every 2 to 3 days for about 3 weeks. 2 times a week minimal, and then for 3 weeks, and then hopefully that works. And then you get yourself a dehumidifier and try to suck the moisture out of the room to help you a little bit there. So that would be what I would do. Now, all the damage in that room, you're going to continue to have problems if you don't get that wall patched up, right?
With the right type of wall.
Yeah. I mean, I fear that you rip up the whole thing, you put cement board. I mean, we're talking into the thousands. That's a large job. That's a whole bathroom renovation. And bathroom renovations are not easy to do. They're always difficult because they're tight, confined spaces. They have a lot of intricate things to think about, Like I said, cement board is not drywall. It has a whole different, way of functioning to it, So I hope you're okay. I hope we answered it enough. But my heart goes out to you and every renter who's facing problems where they're even afraid to maybe bring this up to the landlord. Okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're afraid of talking to your landlord about this, there's issues with the landlord.
Yeah.
Okay? No one should be afraid to speak to the person who's responsible to take care of them. Because here's the thing. You sign a lease. You sign a lease with them. And in the lease, it is this agreement that I pay you for the roof above my head. And any cost to make sure this stays to be a roof above my head is on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this isn't a fucking contract. If you're going to be a landlord and you were going to pay the fucking mortgage of the damn building off of this, and you're going to use me as a way of income in some way, you better uphold your end of the bargain, right? So I have a lot of feelings about it, and that's heartbreaking.
And there are some tenant resources in the, usually in your city. Most, cities have it. If you're in a town, it might be the county. But if you Google tenant resources within your area, there are generally local programs that can help you basically talk to your landlord in a more official way, because every tenant across the U.S. has the right to a home that it is, habitable. And if you have a bathroom that was not put together properly and is continuing to deteriorate and, creating mold and mildew issues because they didn't do it properly, that's a legal issue as well. And it just sucks because like you said, people should not be put in this position. But my hope is that, you can find some resources to help you talk to your landlord.
Yeah, I hope that everything goes well with that. My heart goes up to you, and please take care, and I hope that you have a solution soon.
Okay, we have Katie. Dear Mercury, I have a house that was built in 1938, and it has lovely arched doorways. The wall texture is falling apart in some spots. How do I repair this? I want to paint. I'll send some pictures. Love, Clueless Katie in Minnesota.
Okay. Thank you, Katie, for sending that in. The first and foremost, when I'm looking at these photos, it looks like sponge texture.
Mm-hmm.
And you can create this sponge texture by getting boy, Maggie, what are those called? Are those textured sponges? Is that what those are called? That you can shape and change by just peeling pieces of it off? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't know that they have another name other than texture sponges.
I think there's texture sponges. Yeah. I think that's what they are, because you can take these texture sponges and just peel them off basically.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two routes that you can go. That you can use joint compound and then take the texture sponge and then print it into the joint compound and then let it dry that way.
Mm-hmm.
You can even do it with something that's going to set faster with maybe 20-minute one might set faster. And then you do that and then it will kind of look the way you want it to look. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But the first thing you want to do is sand it down. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Okay. So make sure the area is clean and removed. And then you want to make sure that you take everything off, make sure it's good to go. And then you are going to want to then prep it. So make sure it's good to go. And then you add in the 20-minute mud and add the sponge. And that should be all you need to do. And then you paint.
So it's kind of like just a simple drywall patch, but
yeah, it's kind of like a drywall patch, but we're kind of just adding the texture to it.
Yeah,
and that is as simple as that. It may be a different type of sponge that you need. It might be a little bit of experimental. The best thing with those kind of things that you can always change it. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? If you mess up the texture, guess what? You get to do it again. You know what I mean? Also, if you don't like that, if you don't like using the texture sponge, you could use Home makes spray textures.
Mm-hmm.
And there are lots of different kinds of spray textures. If you go and you look at Home Ec spray texture spray cans or in these aerosol cans, you may find one that looks best for you. And it doesn't look like knockdown. It straight up looks like sponging.
Mm-hmm.
You might get a sponge effect from a spray can, but I think your best bet is to use a texture sponge.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Okay, Katie, I answered that so quick and so good. I hope you are having a great day. I filled your brain with knowledge and things.
This one is from Paula. She says, I have 4 kitties and a dog, if that counts. Why does my toilet glug, glug, glug after a flush and toilet paper stays floating even if all of the water goes down?
Yeah, sure. And there's puppies and dogs here.
And kitties.
Oh, my God. Okay, that dog looks like Lassie. That looks like fucking Lassie. That is the most beautiful dog ever. And oh, my God, there's 5. There's 4 cats.
So many kitties.
4 cats. And, okay, I don't even know what's going on with the toilet. I just love it.
I know it goes glug, 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 and then the toilet paper stays in the toilet. And doesn't go all the way
sounds like
down.
there's an air pocket in the toilet. So it sounds like so what happens a lot is that there is an S curve in your toilet, right? If you look on the side of your toilet, you can actually see this S curve that happens. And what is happening with that is that helps prevent something called backflow prevention. That is like preventing smell coming out of your sewage line. That is preventing, having water shoot up at you. You know what I mean? Like it prevents those major things you don't want to think about. So what happens sometimes in those little pockets, right in the curve of the S, right? Those two pockets, you get, some type of blockages that will hold air sometimes. And then that will be the, that kind of noise. And if it doesn't fully flush, it might be that. So how do you solve that problem? I think this is when you get a toilet auger. This is my favorite thing to tell people who are having problems with toilets. It's also called like a closeted auger, I think. It just sounds like a gay auger in a lot of ways. But yeah, no, a toilet auger basically is an auger that has like a chain on it, that has like a wire chain on it. That's about like maybe 3 to 5 feet long. It's the length of the S curve. And then it has a sliding pipe that one is larger than the other, and it slides up and down. And each time it slides up, it pushes that wire down into the toilet. And you can also turn it. And you can do that motion at the same time, and that can really clear things out. Don't get a cheap one, though. The $20 ones, the $15 ones, the $5 ones are just awful. They're too thin. They're too thin and loosey-goosey. You need something that's firm, tough, and going to take a beating. It's like a good strap-on is what I'm trying to say. So I recommend get like the $45, the $55 ones. And if you can, get a bag for it. Get one of those bags that it goes in, and it can prevent it from smelling real bad sometimes.
Oh, yeah, that would be good.
Oh, yeah. Got to err on the side of caution with those. But yeah, a toilet auger will be the route I would go. And I hope that helps you. Is that good? Did I answer it good? What do you think, Maggie?
Yeah, sounds great.
Yeah, I like it. A toilet auger to get that poop out of there. If it's still if it's still gurgling after that, then I would recommend, I don't know. If it was gurgling after that, it might be, no, it's got to be the S. No, it has to be. I think that's the only thing I'm seeing. It would have to be the S curve. Boy, I hope I don't eat my shorts after that one. No, I think it's got to be the S curve. If you think I'm wrong, write me. Text us at this number.
608-205-8768.
Yeah, if you think I'm wrong, you fucking tell me.
Say it to my face.
Yeah, if you think I'm wrong about that, you let me know. But I think one of the only things it could be is a blockage of air in it. Because the way that they described it makes me think that there is something in there, And then ask Lassie, to figure it out for you.
Go get help, Lassie.
Yeah, Lassie can come up to you and be like, woof, woof, woof. And then they'll be like, oh, no, there's something. Oh, one of the cats fell in the toilet, Oh, my God. Princess fell in the toilet. You got to come save her, The stupidest joke. Hey, everybody, that is the end of the show. Thank you for being here for the Handy Ma'am Hotline. We love when you are emailing and texting and calling us at this number. One more time.
608-205-8768.
So please leave us your cues, and we will give you all the A's we possibly can. Gift wrapped in a nice little ribbon of probably a lot of dick jokes and inappropriate language. But I hope that you learned something, because I think we learned a thing or two while we were going along this line as well. I want to say a big thank you, as always, to my wonderful co-host, Becky Conrad, but also my wonderful sound engineer, Matthew Allen Haig, who answered some cues for us today, too. Woohoo! Woohoo! Everybody, thank you for tuning into this episode. Please remember to support our $1 million fundraiser on March 30th and 31st. You can even donate right now if you are able to by clicking the link in the description of this podcast. That being said, remember, you're worth the time it takes to learn a new skill. The theme song for the Handy Ma'am Hotline was written by Rhodey Walker. The questions were picked out by our production assistants, Ray and Basil. And the sound was engineered by Matthew Allen Haig. Thank you for listening. See you next time. This episode is sponsored by our friend Snugplug. You know I don't do many sponsorships, so when I do, you know that I believe in the product. We all face outlets sometimes that have loose connection. They just fall out. When you're doing your vacuuming or you're trying to charge your phone, it just falls right out of the wall. Well, now with Snug Plug, you don't need to worry about that anymore. You just insert that and it'll be nice and snug. A wonderful invention that I think you should get as well. And you can support us here at the podcast by going to the affiliate link and getting yourself a Snug Plug. If you enjoyed this episode of the Handy Ma'am Hotline, you can listen to an even longer version by supporting us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon, $10 or more, you'll be able to get an extra long 30 to 45 minute section every single week. Isn't that amazing? More of me and Maggie. Wow! So thank you so much for all those who already support us, and you too can support us and listen to more on our Patreon. Thank you. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us keep the pirate ship alive by supporting our sponsors, the wonderful iFixit. They fight for your right to repair and makes really cool tools in the process. If you need to fix your phone, laptop, or even a vacuum, iFixit has thousands of parts, tools, and free guides to make your life a little bit easier.
So grab your hammer and nails and paint your nails if you want to. You're worth the time it takes to be you. She'll teach you how to fix your house, how to fix it by yourself. The